En onze volgende twee gasten, dames en heren, dat zijn twee dichters. Anne Vegter uit Nederland en Gayath Almadhoun uit een Palestijnse Syriër die in Zweden woont. We gaan het gesprek in het Engels voeren en de gedichten van Gayath die gaan dan in vertaling hier op het scherm terechtkomen. Geeft u een aanmoedigend applaus. Hier zijn Anne Vegter en Gayath Almadhoun. I'm going to give you both a microphone. There you go. Anne, you can take that one.
This is the new one.
Yes, you put the right one in front of the book. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Fresh.
Yes, you find a microphone, okay. Well, Gayath, I just told the people that you are a Palestinian Syrian living in Sweden. You used to live in Syria until 2008. You lived in Damascus as well. To us, we hear stories about the war now there. We think Damascus, what a terrible city, but how do you remember Damascus?
Every person in the world like the city he born in, but after I visited most of the cities in the world, I think really Damascus is a special city. The relation, like the only thing let me flee Damascus is the dictatorship. I really believe that every person should not stay for one moment in dictatorship, not for any reason. And either they fight it and take it away, or he should skip. I believe in that. I didn't got the chance to flee before because I was paperless. And I smuggled my paper from Gaza to Jordan to Syria, and I use that, the corruption, sometimes it's so good because I pay money to skip the airport because the passport I use is a Palestinian Authority passport and Syria was without embassy, so they didn't accept it as a passport. But anyway, I used the corruption in a good way to escape. And I remember I looked to the city, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's a huge city, 7 million people there and the light. And I remember it, I saw it as a fire. I really say to my friend, my colleague Khalid, we were together, I told him, I think I will not see this city anymore. Not because I will not go back, I was sure that I will go back, but I know every romantic party in a dictatorship like Al-Ba'ath party, where speak about the pure race and like this, it's always end with the civil war and the destruction of a country. And we remember what happened in Spain when 1 million people died. So for me, Damascus, it's the memory of myself. In that time, the dream was Palestine, as a Palestinian grow in a refugee camp, and he didn't understand why we are Palestinian and what it's mean to be a Palestinian. And it's a foggy answer from the father and mother, and you didn't understand. My mother is Syrian, but what is it to be a Palestinian? Why I grow up in a Palestinian refugee camp? You didn't know the history. In general Middle East, they didn't teach European history, and there is, as exactly like European didn't study the Middle Eastern. So we didn't know the anti-Semitic in Europe, we didn't know the history of the final solution, we didn't know why we pay our land as a solution for something racist in Europe. And this is for a 5 or 6 years old, is not understandable. So for me to flee Damascus, it's very important decision. The most place I love, all my memory and my friends, in the same time, to be a writer, you need to be in the freedom. And I remember I visited China for 10 days. The first 3 days, it was like hell for me. The idea that I can't open Wikipedia, can't go to my Gmail because Google is closed. It's remind me of something I really like. I couldn't take it. It's enough 29 years and 6 months inside the dictatorship.
Okay, and so you could go to Sweden, and here in Europe you are a writer. You write your poetry, and that's perhaps how you met Anne Vegter. You are a poet from Holland. You used to be the poet laureate, the dichter des Vaderlands. What does that mean?
I think you are in Belgium well known with this project. I call it a project. This is since about I think now more than 12 years in Holland, a kind of an institution, but it's also a fiction. It's just a few poets who really find it funny, like it used to be in England, already in Shakespeare's times. Poet laureate was kind of, I don't know, a little bit a clown of the royal family, in fact. And still this aspect is really not emphasized by the Dutch poets, you are, in fact, a clown, and you should be a clown. Yes. I didn't really manage, I think. I feel the clown inside now since I lost this title again after 4 years. This is kind of much better. Yeah. To just be a poet and not be a poet who is expected to reflect at any time of the week on issues, political or something mondial, or because it is really quite a thing to feel urged to write poetry
and to have to.
To have to, and to have to engage and to know the words which reflect on the typical situation and to know them exactly in 2 hours. Yeah. At least. But there were times that I succeeded because I said yes to this project. Yes. I said yes, and I thought, come on, you suggested, I said to myself, that poetry could be a way of communicating on a certain level, on an imaginary level, in fact. And so try to prove it. So then there happened, for instance, this catastrophe in Holland. The MH17.
The plane that went down, yes.
Went down, and then it was like immediately that I felt this is the first time that I should reflect on what probably is being felt by the people. Yeah. And then, because I found it very difficult to say, yes, I am able to know what everybody because it's
thinks.
Not true. And then I shouldn't try. I just should listen to my own voice. And that's what I learned. And then I wrote a poem in, I think, 3/4 of an hour about this fact. And then I remembered Gerrit Komrij, who always, a Dutch, very well-known poet who's not living, unfortunately, anymore. And he was really a great clown in Holland. And poetry, really a master. And he said every poem that needs more than 45 minutes is just bullshit. So I managed. And then it really was because I dared to listen to what I felt personally about it. And the doubts I felt when I listened to what was being said about what the Russians said. And I just tried to be close to what happened at that specific moment shortly after this catastrophe. Yeah. So,
Yeah. And how did you meet Riyad, or how did you get to know his poems?
Quite another story. I think we met, the first time was at the festival in Holland, which is called Read My World. It's quite a nice little literature festival.
2013?
In 2013, each year they choose another group of reporters that go to their own countries, so foreign poets or literature or writers, and they know who in their country is really could issue something about this time in his own language. And then so Gayath was invited because it was a Palestinian theme, I think, Arabic.
It was Palestine and Egypt.
Palestine and Egypt, right. And then I saw Gayath. He was being interviewed by Duke Poppinga, his Dutch translator, Arabic translator. And then I was, I don't know. I said, yes, there's kind of a paradox. He reflects on living in Sweden, in Stockholm, something like, and not being there in Syria, in Damascus. So, and then I don't know, I wanted to hear you about it and to talk about it. That was the first moment.
I want to add something, like it's like it's something catch you to do it. Like first, Anish is I really like her poetry. I admire what I read in English and Arabic from her translation, and in the same time, the field itself, like the poets. They are as I say before, they are really selfish. more than any kind of writer. But
And why is that? Why are poets more selfish?
I describe it. I say they are lonely wolves. Like they go to the inner of themselves. So they search alone and like this. But sometimes the wolves meet in the wood and they hunt together for a short while. And then they hear the nature again and they run away alone. So I hunt before with a Swedish poet together. We have a book. And was a different experience than with the Anne because we work together. But here with Anne, it's more challenging because we didn't work together. It's like there is, we didn't build something new. We destroyed the heritage, or we began to destroy the old building and destroyed the walls so we can cross to each other. It's like Rostina stone that where there is a three language and through it we could understand the hieroglyph ancient Egypt. So for me it was really it's a joy and great feeling to see my text in front of Anna text and to see what will be the reaction from the audience in Holland.
Yeah,
so your poems are published together in this new book, but you, Anna, you wrote a poem for Gayath.
Yes, I told you this a couple of hours ago. So when I finished to make a sort of a collection that, in a way, could be a dialogue. I mean, we tried to make a dialogue, but then not in the normal or official way you interpret this word. It is not like we were mailing one sentence and then he were mailing me a sentence. No, not at all. In fact, we lived two lives, and then I think that's right, because it is in fact two worlds in one. Yeah. Book.
Okay.
Two complete different worlds, extreme, complete different. I wrote about Holland, quite flat Holland. Well, anyway, and then, but then in the last, I think days before I tried to finish it. I wrote one poem for you, and so.
Would you care to read it for us, please, and for Gayath?
Yeah, I read it in Dutch, and Gayath, you have the translation.
Yes.
But you don't, well, anyway.
You know the poem, okay.
Okay, well, because I thought it should be, but because that was a project, in fact, to try also to create new poetry in reflection on yours, which was already been made. There was a lot of text, and I was looking, and I thought, yes, I should be, how we find a way to be compatible. How could it work? And it was hard.
Yeah, how such different worlds.
And then I thought it is hard because I think that I have to be engaged. And I should not be so proud. I should just try to find my own voice and reflect on war themes if I want. So that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Let's hear it.
It is called Intussen Een. So there are two parts. I call them meanwhile in Holland. And this one is intussen, more like meanwhile in the world. Intussen. Ik werd in je gedicht wakker. Ik wilde mijn bed kleiner maken. Mijn huis groter maken. Mijn straat kleiner maken. Mijn buurt groter maken. Mijn stad kleiner maken. Mijn continent groter maken. Ik maakte je zee kleiner. Ik maakte je geschiedenis groter. Ik groef je pleinen uit. Ik groef je torens uit. Ik groef je liefde uit. Toen ik wakker werd in je gedicht, stuurde je oorlog uit. Eens begroef je de woeste planeet. Wat begon als vernietiging, eindigde als besluit. Op die dag werd het nacht, zoals in ruïne decor. Woorden, muur, steen, bijl, Wig, boom, klauw, kozijn, karkas, vlam, voetbalschoen, poppiesblauw, kinderfiets, verleden tijd, breken, brak, van dood zoveel weten als van leer, poriën, lymfesystemen, luchtwegen, rolstoelen, draadnagel, katrol, knopen, touwen, schermen, vooruitrennen, glijden, vallen, emmers, stukjes, stembanden, trommelvliezen, scharen, demonen, flarden, silhouetten, schutkleuren, schaduwen, bivakmuts, schoenveter, buigen, lantaarnpaal, wegzakken, krombuigen, uit evenwicht raken, pressie, geen middelen, lobby's, geen grondstoffen, stilte van voorherschikken, waar nergens een plan in past, maar tot nieuwe orde roepen, wel niet meer, rangschikken, uitveden, terugrennen, kleurfilter, camera, wijd open, steady eyes, wegrennen, opkijken, verschroeiende vingers, je onvaste gezichten.
What did you think of this poem when you read it the first time, Riyad?
Yeah, the first time it was like make me feel little happy and proud. The second time I read it, I felt sad. You know, poetry have many levels to understand that you became part of something. It's have two, like a knife, but it's have two sharp edges, so you are not safe to use it. So I really admire the poetry, but in the same time, it's tricky. For example, like if could this example explain the situation of poetry inside me? When I sit with the people, for example, let's say they are right wings by chance, they ask me what you work, I say poet. So this is the most funny things they could hear.
They could not imagine. Yes.
Even it's not interested them at all like this, but these people, the same people who are nationalists like this, when you ask them about what is the greatest things in Sweden, they told you about the great poets they have in the past. So you understand that they have different way of. So I understand, like I am as a poet in 200 years, some racist people will say my poetry as a great.
Yes.
So it's a paradox. So it's have double standard.
It's double always, yes.
But I believe, like when I hear this poem, I felt we succeed already with the book. It's what the purpose from the book. It's done. It's like something came from outside. And for me, it's like
yes.
In the end, this is in the end because this book is too different between for me and for Anne. In the end, this a Dutch book. It's in her language.
Yeah.
Where when I catch it, it's for me. It's my poems and her poems for me. It's the same because I can't read them both. So for me, this is a Dutch book.
It's a Dutch book with your poems.
Dutch, it's the other country, not the where I live or where I speak. And for Anna, it's somehow it's her book.
Yeah, but it's your book of both of you together.
It's have many layers.
Yeah. Well, you write about what you have experienced, what you are going through. One of the poems is called "The Moment Before the Bomb Drops." It is about what your friends and your beloved ones go through in the war in Syria. Would you mind to read that for us? You are going to read it in Arabic, so you start the book from right to left, and we always turn it around.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the person who will help me.
And
to the second, yes.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
We can read it. We can follow it in Dutch while you recite it in Arabic.
2014, and through the Skype every day with Syria.
So you knew what the people were going through.
In that year, I throw the books, all the books of Azra Bound. I really throw them in the garbage. I like Azra Bound so much, but I couldn't take it anymore that he was a fascist. Before I could read him, I deal with that. But when the killing became so hard in Syria and I saw Adonis standing with Bashar al-Assad, I remember Azra Bound and Heidegger. They were Nazi, and I began to hate Juan Miro and Salvador Dali because they were with Franco. So I took the books of Azra Bound, the translation. and I throw them in the garbage.
Okay.
خلاص, I say I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, because that's the first line of the poem. Ezra Pound.
في السنة الماضية انتحرت قصائد عزربان في مكتبتي. لم تعد تحتمل أن تقف في صف الجلاد. في اللحظة التي تسبق عقرب الثواني، حين تكون القذيفة لا تزال معلقة في الهواء، يتوقف القتلى عن الرقص، يتوقف البيت عن الاتكاء على الإسمنت في بيت الجيران، تتوقف فناجين القهوة عن التجمع بعضها بجانب البعض في خزانة المطبخ. في اللحظة التي تسبق تحول الTNT من حالة صلبة إلى حالة هوائية، أسمع سكوتك بوضوح، إنه خليط من المطر والذكريات. ألمس صوت القذائف عن طريق السكايب، أشرب أصابعك، أحبك ثم أرحل، أحبك ثم أبقى، أحبك ثم تنكسر الأغنية في الراديو، تنكسر نشرة الأخبار، تنكسر الديانات السماوية، ينكسر الشعر الواقف بيننا في الصورة العائلية. في اللحظة التي تسبق سيارة الإسعاف، ينبت ريش على أجساد الأطفال لكي يطيروا بعيداً. إنها الصفة المكتسبة التي تحدث عنها لامارك وكذبها العلماء. إنها معجزة الله التي لن تحدث. في اللحظة التي تسبق نشرة الأخبار، أحصل على عدة أشياء مجاناً. على سبيل المثال، إصبع سادس في يدي فلا يبقى لدي إصبع وسطى لكي أرفعها في وجوهكم. ملامح عربية شابة تغطي شوارع أوروبا العجوز. سيزداد عدد الذين يقفون في المترو لكي يجلسوا العجائز في أماكنهم. مطعم فلافل جديد في ستوكهولم، سنجده جيداً بعد سهرة كحولية في إحدى الليالي. مقعد جديد للعنصريين في البرلمان، وهو ما يعطينا سبباً إضافياً لمحاربة النازية الجديدة. في تلك اللحظة التي تسبق الصمت، أهز أشجار الخبز لكي لا يجوع أصدقائي. أهزها فيسقط وجهك ويسقط وجهي، وتسقط الأمم المتحدة، يسقط الإعلان العالمي لحقوق الإنسان، وتسقط اليونسكو والصليب الأحمر ومنظمة العفو الدولية، تسقط هيومن رايتس ووتش، ويسقط مجلس الأمن ومراسلون بلا حدود وأطباء بلا حدود، تسقط حركة عدم الانحياز ومحكمة مجرمي الحرب، تسقط حرية التعبير، يسقط العالم الأول والديمقراطية، وتسقط حقوق المرأة، يسقط كل شيء وينتصر الذئب. في الطريق إلى المجزرة يخالفني شرطي المرور بسبب ارتفاع نسبة الكحول في دمي. ماذا شربت؟ أصابع حبيبتي.
Thank you. Riyad, how is it for you? Yes?
Yes, there is a small part. It's working, huh?
Yeah.
Now it's the barbarian. Yes. I will need the last part, but I want to be sure. لماذا ننتظر الراتب في آخر الشهر؟ لماذا ننتظر البرابرة؟ لماذا ننتظر بابا نويل والمخلص والباص؟ هذا العالم يسير بخط مستقيم نحو الكوميديا، وأنت تنامين حتى الظهيرة، وكأن القذيفة لم تسبق الخبر العاجل. هذا العالم يسير بخط مستقيم نحو تنظيم الدعارة. يا سيدتي الفاضلة، هل جربت أن تعملي في الدعارة؟ لا، ربما لم تجربي أن تموتي من الجوع بعد. إنهما أمران مترابطان يأتيان معا في علبة واحدة. عرض خاص، خذ واحدة واحصل على الثانية مجانا. باختصار شديد، أنا أحبك، لكن قصائدي قررت الرحيل إلى الشمال. هل ترغبين بسرير دافئ في مدينة باردة؟ لا، أفضل سريرا باردا في مدينة دافئة، فالجحيم هو نفسه الفردوس، لكن دون أصدقاء.
This last sentence, I prefer a cold bed in a warm city because hell itself is paradise but without friends. How difficult, how is it for you to live in Sweden and to know that your friends and your beloved ones are there in this most terrible war?
Yeah, it's have. I always feel like an olive tree in the north. I have no chance to survive. I always say this to myself. It's the first reason that I'm so connected to the language, to the Arabic language. It's language is bigger than people, and the Arabic language, it's have like a way of saying the things in different way, and because that we call it the language of poetry, because you can say caps, cup. This is Arabic word from Jan.
Yes.
Many words. So you choose from everything. We have many words, and they are the same thing. So we only choose the word that fit the music of the poem. And because that we have this huge amount of poetry. So I really miss that. To be in Sweden where there are 300,000 words compared with like 13 million Arabic words. It's the people who I miss really somebody say for me Gayath, my name, like without saying Gayath or Riyadh or it's small things. This is the first level. The second level, I share it with my Swedish friend. That in the end, all of us, we are Homo sapien, African. So for me and for them, Sweden is so difficult. The people who were prepared to live in Sweden, the Neanderthal, when we came, we killed them. So they were, they make evolution from Homo erectus to Neanderthal to be prepared for the cold and the darkness. And when the Homo sapien came, they were more clever, we killed them. So me and my Swedish friend, we suffer in the darkness of Sweden, but I suffer more because it's question of that I'm like a fish. Somebody took it outside the Mediterranean. And, yeah. So I don't know who I am until now. In the poem, The Capital, there is part, by the way, the poem, it's about Antwerp. And there is part, the man in the migration board asked me, where are you from? And I say, I don't know, because I'm not married yet. So I'm waiting to marry, to belong to some place.
Yes. It is. I think it must be really difficult for us to really know and feel what it is like to have to flee your country and the people you love and go and live somewhere else, where people look at you perhaps as you mentioned it in your poem, Anne, een gelukzoeker, a happiness seeker. How terrible a word is that for you, Riyadh, that people who come here, who risk their life on the Mediterranean, are called gelukzoekers, happiness seekers.
I cried when I read that poem. I really did. I didn't cry from a long time ago. But when I read that poem, I didn't cry for poetry, I mean. But when I did read poem, I was in the hotel and I cried, I really. But the last word, it's very important word because for me, I took it for many things. And one of them, I'm really searching for happiness, and I didn't feel like everyone should
like anybody
else,
of
like
course.
And this is what is the image of the others, that people feel that they have the right and the other didn't have. All of us, in the end, we search for our happiness and safety and to be part of the society. But in the moment I read the poem, I really understand that there is someone touched the wound. It's really, I felt that. From this moment, I will explain less to the others. Now I understand that someone, he didn't have a fish memory. He didn't have this, what we have in the West here, if I speak as a Western, because I live here. We didn't have these people who forgot what happened 70 years ago here, and how the people was escaping through the Mediterranean by millions from Europe to Algeria and Morocco and like this, and they drowned in the sea. How France closed the borders in front of the Spanish who ran away from Franco, and they killed and they died in brutal way. They forgot how the Belgians ran away from Ypres and the Flanders fields by millions to escape the war and the gas. They forgot that we are human and everyone have its time and no guarantee that the third war will not happen and some of the people here will be refugee in Syria. I don't want to make it like this, but this poem, it was really very important. It's moved me one step further.
Let's listen to that poem, because it's a poem that Anne wrote about how perhaps we Dutch or we Flemish people, we from Belgium, one day would have to go away as well. And we forgot perhaps what it meant to be, but we, or our ancestors, had to do it in the First World War and the Second one. So please, Anne, could you read that poem that had such an impression on Gayath?
Het begon met grote ontploffingen bij benzinestations in het hele land. Er werd aan een gecoördineerde actie gedacht. De grenzen in het noorden, oosten en zuiden zijn gesloten. Verbindingswegen in het oosten en zuiden zijn geblokkeerd. In Utrecht brak een grote brand uit. In het hart van de stad is een gat met een doorsnee van 1000 meter geslagen. De wind stak woedend op van de aarde recht naar boven. Gevels breken, de daken reiken scheef over de straten, absoluut geen woorden voor. Kolommen stof tollen rond tussen de huizen. De mensen bewegen zich tastend, blind, tot buiten de stad. In de grachten drijven lijken. Er zwemmen honden, die vreten ze gewoon. Hier weet niemand iets. En we kunnen niet eens bellen. Kinderen hebben gezien hoe hun ouders verpletterd werden. Er liggen mensen onder puin met wonden die niemand verbindt. Bij de grensovergangen in Groningen en Drenthe staan kilometerlange rijen tot in de provincie. Kinderen, tassen, alles gestapeld in en op auto's. Iedereen wil er door, iedereen wordt tegengehouden. In het hele land zouden brandhaarden zijn. Wie ze aanwakkerde wordt niet gezegd. Niemand gelooft in toeval. Boven Overijssel hangen gaswolken. Ademen is stikken. Protocol zegt dat de inwoners van Zwolle ramen en deuren gesloten moeten houden. Welke deuren, welke ramen, welke inwoners? De mensen willen naar de Waddeneilanden. Daar zou lucht zijn. 1,5 miljoen mensen rennen in dichte drommen. Mensen vertrappen elkaar om de veerboten vandaag nog te bereiken, maar de wegen bestaan niet meer. Het zijn brede scheuren, greppels vol brokken steen. De eilanden zijn onbereikbaar. De veerboten varen niet uit, alle netwerken zijn uitgevallen. Staat er nog een ziekenhuis overeind? Er is een run geweest op de banken. Wie met grof geld zwaait kan vervoer naar het westen krijgen, naar de kustplaatsen. Alles en iedereen is in beweging. De Veluwe staat in brand, aggregaten hebben het begeven, iedereen rent. Tussen Delft en Leiden is een groep kinderen op drift. Het is onveilig voor meisjes. In de nacht worden ze uit de rijen geplukt. Er loopt geen drinkwater meer uit de kranen. Provincie na provincie komt droog te staan. De noodreservoirs in de duinen zijn gebroken. Brabanders zouden massaal naar de Rotterdamse havens zijn getrokken. Op de Maasvlakte doen zich verschrikkelijke taferelen voor. De geruchtenstroom houdt aan. Het Rijksmuseum is grotendeels ingestort. Hoeveel overlevenden er zijn, weet niemand. Uit alle provincies zouden mensen naar de kusten trekken. Er zullen nog steeds mensen met hun spullen. Het schijnt dat de Zeeuwse eilanden geïsoleerd zijn geraakt. Delen van dijken zijn weggeslagen. De eilanden drijven in westelijke richting. Niemand kan de krachten beheersen. Er is een onbekende troepenmacht door de oostgrens gebroken. Het schijnt dat de regels veranderd zijn. Maar van welk spel in godsnaam? Waar is de overheid? Er zouden tientallen boten klaar liggen om Nederlanders naar de overkant te brengen. We zijn met duizenden. Onze boten bezwijken bijna onder het gewicht van de mensen. En er glijden lichamen over de randen van de boten. Keren boten terug met levenden en doden. Waar is de overkant? Er is geen overkant. We drijven verder. We spoelen over de hele wereld aan. Niemand zit op vluchtelingen te wachten. Gelukzoekers, zo worden we genoemd.
Where is the other side? There is no other side. It's really... That is how it feels, you think?
I didn't think about how it felt. I just thought the pictures of what could happen like ongoing film or a news report, like that. So I excluded my personal feelings because I wanted to just create this futural situation for one time, as harsh as I could. And then, well, if you ask, there's no, England could be the other side, but I think nowadays we cannot hope.
Would we be welcome
it could be
there?
England.
Brexit land, no.
Yeah.
It's really, really very strong poem. Do you think that poetry can help people to understand things that are happening? Or is that too naive a question?
Yeah, because I find it difficult to say yes, poetry. I think the language, if you are willing to really listen and really, and even what helps is just to read it loud out, like what the musical and the powerful intention could be of a poem. Yes, it could open something in you inside so that you could begin to understand. It needs a lot of rereading. It's like Gayath's poems. You should take them again and again and again and again.
Like a song that you listen
so I
to
don't know.
and
Yes, and then there might be some movement inside, but it's all dependent on if you are willing to make this step into the poetry. So it's not like that the poem is going to tell you what it is like. No, it is you who could go to the poem. So, yeah.
Okay. What a very warm, I do not find the word for pleidooi in English. What? Plea? What a very warm and beautiful plea for poetry that was. Thank you very much for that, Anne Vegter. Thank you very much for being here, Gayath Almadhoun.